the one, the only, Beitzah. Good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun. Today we did Beitzah, Perek Hey, Mishnayos Gimel and Dal. Mishnayos Gimel and Dal discuss something related to Eruvin principally. It talks about the concept of Eruvin Tchumen. A tchum basically is 2,000 amos in each direction outside the city limits, where you're allowed to transport objects if you have an eruv, right? There's no problem with Beitzah. You're allowed to take things, and even if you're not carrying objects, to walk. You're allowed to walk to the tchum. Past that, you can't go out because it's makom shvisa. It's considered your place of your city is where you reside. Outside the 2,000 amos outside the city limits is part of the city, so you can go when they're in your city. That's your shvisa, and it depends where you were on Ben Hashmashos on Friday night. That's from Beitzah Eruvin. Beitzah over here introduces the concept of the tchum for your kalim or your behema, your objects that belong to your animals, your possessions. To which tchum do they belong to? Now, obviously, if it's your possessions, it belongs to your tchum. But the question is, in certain cases, for example, Mishnah Gimel talks about you give it to your son, your animals, for your son to watch them, or for a shepherd to watch them, right? And Mishnah Dalet discusses what about if you borrow something from somebody on before Ben Hashmashos on Friday night. So you're a borrower. Friday night came and it was in your possession. It doesn't belong to you. It's not shalom, but it is b'shusa. It's in your domain. Whose tchum does it go with? And we go with the tchum of the shalom. Now it's hard to understand why you go with the tchum of the shalom. It doesn't belong to him. Financially, it doesn't belong to him. It's not shalom. It isn't in his control. Normally, stam sheila is 30 days, unless you specify otherwise. But when I borrow it, I'm in control of the usage of this thing, right? It's in my house. I can decide what to do with it. So hard to understand why. Well, don't we say it goes to the regalim of the tchum of the owner? It doesn't belong to you. And the answer is that Eruvin Tchumen, right, is basically a din in the karka, right? Basically, it's measuring how far I can walk on the ground, right? I mentioned many times you can't own ground. You can have reshus over land. You can have domain control over land. There's two types of ownership. There's shalom and reshuso. Shalom means I can physically own them. I can hold it in my hand. I can exhibit dominance over it. Normally, if you're holding it in your hand, that's one way. Different kinyanim, hagbah, mashicha, demonstrate my ownership of the object. That's shalom. And b'shusa means I have control. I'm in control. It's under my discretion, right? If you go ahead and hire a financial advisor and you say, I'm giving you $1 million to work with, he can invest it anywhere he wants. I mean, that's up to him. It's his discretion. It's my money, but it's his discretion, right? So I can make a lawsuit. He does something really bad. He breaks the rules, but it's really his discretion. And that's really when it comes to land, it's about who's in control of the land, who's discretion. That's what in Masechet Bava Basra I talk about a kinyan gimel shanim. For example, if someone is not there for 3 years and no one makes a protest, and I sit on this land for 3 years, it's mine. How could it be mine? How could it be mine? It's not mine. I don't have the deed. But the point is that by staying there 3 years and no one protesting, it demonstrates that you are in control. Not owning physically, but in control. And that's all you can have my land. Tchumen is related to land. And therefore, when it comes to a shoel, even a shoel doesn't belong to him, it's not shalom, but it is b'shuso, it is in his domain. So therefore, since Eruvin Tchumen, which is with land, is only dependent on the monetary status of b'shuso, so therefore, so shoel, who is in his domain at the beginning of Shabbos, on Ben Hashmashos, it's in his b'shuso, so his tchum is basically the one that's affected by his having this in his possession. The fact that he has control over it at Ben Hashmashos shows that it's in his reshus, and therefore it goes by his tchum. Very simple, not so complicated. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.